All right, y'all. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It is hair day, wash day. So I am giving blackness today. Amen. So let me share my screen. Let's get into it because I am a couple of minutes late and you like to be late. So I can see everything. Y'all can see everything. Let me present and comment in the chat where you are from. Per usual, I like to know who I'm talking to. All right. So today we are talking about investing, and I'm going to give you 5 tips that will help you to start investing with your 9 to 5 income, because the reality is a lot of us are still working, myself included, but that shouldn't be a reason why you don't invest. In fact, I'm going to highlight a few different accounts that you can use through your 9 to 5 to invest and allow them to give you some money too, okay, beyond the check, because we need more. We always need more. So if you're new here or if you're not, hey, there are guys here, I'm sure, as well. My name is Jocelyn, and I am the founder of Maximize Money. I am a certified financial educator and self-taught investor that has done many financial challenges and many financial wins as well. So I have paid off debt. I'm generating passive income. I bought my home, and I did all of this within 2 years. And I help other women do the same. You know, I help them start their investing journey. I help them buy homes, do all the things that society says we're supposed to do, essentially. But that was not how it started for me. I actually was on a struggle bus for close to 10 years. So like you or not like you, millennials, a lot of us are living paycheck to paycheck, you know, and that was my life for pretty much all of my 20s. Like I was just living life for the day, you know, for the trip, for the brunch, for the happy hour. But ultimately life started lifing, you know, like I ended up quitting a job. It was really impacting my mental health. And then, you know, a couple of years later, the pandemic hit and I got laid off from another job unexpectedly. And like in the midst of all of that, I was really trying to find my way and find a place to freaking live. And so I attempted to start my home buying journey that obviously did not work out back then. I'm in it now. So what that looks like now is, you know, I have paid off the debt. I had over $80,000 of student loan debt alone. What I don't, and I need to highlight here is that I also had a car note and I had some credit card debt, a little bit, not a lot, maybe like, I think it was like $3,000, but the car note was like 7. So I was closer to 100,000 all in, but the student loan debt was really the area I wanted to focus on in, because it was just too much to be carrying around. And so after that, of course, I purchased my first home, which is now an investment property. And like I mentioned, I'm generating passive income, which means that I don't have to trade my time for money to get this money. Like I put my money to work through investments, through my high yield savings accounts, all the things to make that additional money. Because like you probably not getting paid enough on your job, okay? But you got to beg them to get more. And that's just not what I'm about. Like I want to show women how to use their money, you know, from their 9 to 5 jobs to work for them, you know, and help them to create their dream lives and live their dream lives in a way that they can confidently afford it. Because a lot of people you see online, they can't really afford their lifestyles, but that's above me. I'm not responsible for them. I'm only responsible for helping my clients get to where they need to be. So a few housekeeping rules or tips to keep in mind. If there are questions, please add them. Like I want you guys to talk to me. You know, this is for us all to learn and engage. So just put a Q in front of any question that you have. Please be respectful and not judgmental. Like this is money. Money is a topic a lot of people look at taboo. You know, it's like you don't really want to talk about it. You probably don't even talk about it with your friends. Like I want it to be a safe space for all of us. Of course, engage with me, like I mentioned, not just here, but if you're on my Instagram, my TikTok, everything is maximize.money. And then put your phone on silent, child. Like I have to do, put it on DND because it's easy to get distracted. And I want you to get this game. You know, it's only an hour. It's less than an hour. Usually it's only been about 50 minutes. So I want you to not miss anything. And obviously come with your questions. So let's get into it. So I like to include this slide every time because it represents a lot of who we are. We are mothers, we are wives, we are daughters, we are sisters, we are homegirls, you know, we are servants in our churches, we are business women, we are corporate women. And the last thing we want to do is spend our time focusing on money or whether we have money or not, you know, to do the things that matter to us. And so I like to use this as an example of like, you can do all these things. You can be taking care of your health, taking care of your wealth, taking care of your family, spending time with your homegirls, taking the trips, and not have to worry about money, but you have to be willing to allow your money to work for you and ensure that it is working on your behalf so that you can do these things that you desire to do anyway. Because this is what matters in life. It's spending the time with your loved ones, spending time with your friends, taking the trips, making sure your health is good. And the last thing we want to worry about is money. Money should be working for us. Our money should always be working for us so that we can do the things that matter. So let's get into it. 5 tips to help you start investing with your 9-to-5 income. Number 1 is to set a clear goal. Like, a lot of people want to invest, but they don't know why, So I always like to, ask my clients, like, okay, what is the vision? Is the vision long-term or short-term? And what I mean by that is long-term is usually like retirement. So we may think of like a 401k. We may think of like other avenues, to generate money for our future. So retirement is priority for me because I want to make work optional. I don't want to be working until I'm 50. And a lot of my clients are like, I don't either. So, they want to invest for their retirement, but they also want to generate wealth. There's obviously real estate. We're not going to be talking about that today. But, you want to generate wealth that you can eventually pass down to your kids, whether they're here or not, grandkids, all the things. Like, we see a lot of wealthy people doing this. They're using investments to, generate wealth, because when you leave, or when you're ready to pass that on to them, like, they have it and they didn't have to work for it, And then lastly is children's education. So I have a godson. I'm not a mother. I'm a godmother. Okay. And that's enough for me. I don't want no kids. But when my godson was 2 years old, I basically connected with his parents and I was like, hey, we need to set up an investment account for him. It's a custodial investment account. And essentially we put money into it every single month. And because I ain't got no pay increases lately, but as they get pay increases, because they work in the public sector, like, they have started increasing that amount. So by the time he turns 18, he will have a nice little cushion of money to decide what he wants to do with it. Now, because I have been investing in it, I'm going to make sure it ain't going to be on no cars or no unnecessary stuff. Baby, it needs to be towards your education, towards a business, towards something that's going to get you further along in life. And so a lot of people invest for that reason. I invest for that reason. We invest for that reason. You want to make sure that your kids don't have to carry all the debt that we have, or I have. I'll make it personal to me. Versus short term, so that can be investing for, an upcoming home purchase, an upcoming move, or just to have additional income from a month-to-month perspective. This is not why I invest. I am more on the long-term side, primarily because I know that investing is a risk, number 1, and that things go like this every single day. And so for me, I cannot rely on, though I do make income through my investments, some of them I reinvest it back into more investments. So like, let's say I have some stock in Apple and they pay dividends, which means that they give you a percentage of what they earn, on a quarterly basis or a monthly basis. Each company operates on its own. Instead of them giving me that $5 or whatever amount of money that they give from a dividends perspective, I just buy more of Apple instead of putting that money in my bank account because I really don't need it right now. I'm going to need it later because I know that Apple is only going to get better because these iPhones keep coming up. And they got a new one every freaking year, twice a year, So I'm like, I need to keep my money in here because I know that it's going to grow more versus it sitting in my bank account. And so you can do short-term, investing, but you have to understand like the ebbs and flows of investing and how the market is always changing. And you have to be a little more hands-on, in my opinion. And for me, I work a full-time job, baby. I cannot be hands-on, and I run a business. I have clients. I just don't have the capacity to be checking my investments like that on the regular. So those are the 2 things that you should consider when you think about your goal. Do you want it to be long-term or short-term, or a combination of both? And be realistic with your risk tolerance. Like, how comfortable are you going to be with those drops? Because if you're like me, I don't want to see my money, $20,000 gone. I want to make sure that it's always trending up as often as possible. So the second thing you want to consider when it comes to investing, with your 9-to-5 income is to determine how much you can invest, monthly. A lot of people's like, oh, I want to invest. And I'm like, okay, how much do you want to invest? Why do you want to invest? And usually they don't have answers. They just have seen other people say that they're investing. And that's not enough. You have to have a mind of your own and a vision of your own. So one thing that I like to do, and I like to encourage my clients to do, is to have a 1-hour money date with your spending plan template. And essentially what a spending plan template is it's a budget, but better, because a budget feels very restrictive. It has a negative connotation. It's like, who wants to be budgeting? No, like, but we're all spending. We're all spending on bills. We're spending on utilities. We're spending on all things adulting, and we're spending on brunch. We're spending on happy hour. We're spending on flights. We're spending on hair and nails and all the things. And so I'm not going to tell you not to do those things. I'm just going to tell you to be responsible and make sure that they're accounted for on your spending plan so that you can see your trends and make adjustments as you see fit. And I'm gonna hold you accountable, of course, if you're my client. So if you are looking for a free spending plan template, then I have one available. This is kind of what it looks like. I've made a lot of changes since I've included this screenshot, but this is usually the first step that I want my clients to take after addressing your money beliefs, of course, the things that you learned about money, but this is available for free. Let me see if I can find the link quickly for you guys. Yep, here it is. So I'm going to put this in the chat. If you want access to it, go ahead and grab it. It is free. And once you download it, you get immediate access. And one thing that I don't know if I've highlighted here, I'll probably highlight it later, is that I will be doing live spending plan reviews on my YouTube. So you will only get access to that and get your actual spending plan reviewed if you actually download it. Like, you can't just say, hey, can you review my money? No, you have to have the template because I know how my template works and I can ask the right questions because I built it myself. So this is how you find out what kind of excess you have from an income perspective that can be allocated towards investing. And what you don't see is at the bottom that I have a section for goals. And so if investing is one of your goals, investing is definitely one of my goals that I'm actively, involving myself with, then I make sure that that's accounted for and I make the adjustments. And then I take whatever notes I need to in this section right here. So the third tip I have for you is to decide what kind of investor you want to be. And so there are typically two types, active and passive. Active investors, are the ones that are monitoring their investments on a day-to-day basis. They are often investing for short-term wins. That can be that additional income that they're making. That can be to trade and sell and buy and sell. Like, that requires you really like trying to stay on top of the market. But what a lot of people don't realize is that you can't outpace the market. I manage my own investments, but I also have a financial advisor, and I consider it his job to, essentially be the active investor because he is like a wealth advisor. I'm a financial educator. I know my limits. I'm certified, but I'm a financial educator. So I can't try to time the market to time when I should be buying this thing, when I should be selling this thing. Like, that's overwhelming. Like, I don't do that. I leave that to the experts, but I lean on him for education. Like, whenever he makes moves, like, we always discuss what those moves are versus me. I'm passive. Again, I work full time. I run a business. Like, and I just want to rest. I don't want to be doing things 24/7, and so I'm more of a passive investor. So a tip that I have for you is to be realistic and assess your risk tolerance. If you don't like seeing adjustments in your portfolio on a regular basis, then maybe active isn't for you. But if you have the time, or if you I want to be hands-on, then you can be an active investor. That's ultimately your decision. I'll never tell you what to do, but just make sure that you're realistic with whatever it is that you decide to move forward with. So the fourth tip that I have is to open an investment account. Now, this is where I really need y'all to pay attention because I'm about to go over 5 investment accounts that you need to be aware of. And by the end of this, I hope that you know which one you want to start investing with. Or if you're like, oh yeah, I've already had this and I've never used it, then now's the time to use it, baby. Like, again, we are all about action over here. Like, Maximize Money. Everything that I do is actionable. So let's get your notepad out because I'm about to go line by line. You're probably going to have a lot of questions, and that's what the chat is for. So there are, I said 5, but I'm in 4 investment accounts that I want you to be super clear on. And I'm going to go line by line on each of these. So the first one is a 401k. This is very popular in like corporations, the private side of working. And then there's 403b, which is usually like what teachers have. That's often associated with public sector, like the government, teachers, things like that. They pretty much operate the same with a few different features, but I'll dive into a little bit more of that. Another thing is a health savings account. So this is not available in every single company, but a lot of corporations offer them. And then I think they are FSA as well, but HSA is the one I want you to pay attention to. This is my favorite one because baby, triple tax advantage. And I'm gonna talk about what that means. Third is a Roth IRA, and that's available for everyone outside of people that work 9 to 5s. And then lastly is just a traditional brokerage. You've likely heard of Vanguard or Fidelity or even Robinhood, which has started allowing people to invest. Not my favorite, which is why I didn't list it here, but Robinhood is another one if you're already investing with them. So the first one I want to highlight is the 401k / 403b. And that is one of my favorites because number one, it's for all of the 9 to 5 earners. It's for all of the girlies who work in the public sector or the private sector. And usually what you have heard it be called is an employer sponsored retirement account. And so this is something that employers set up for their employees to save for the future, because we're not going to be working forever. I don't think anybody wants to work forever. We actually want to work as less as possible. And so I love these accounts and I don't feel like they're discussed enough. And it's really not our employer's responsibility to discuss it, but it's so important to use it because of point 2. A lot of these 401ks, 403bs offer company matches. And I put in parentheses free money because essentially that's what it is. So let's say that you put in, let's say that you can contribute up to 5% in your investment account, your 401k, your 403b, and your company matches half of that. Essentially, that's going to be you getting 7.5%. So like if you match up to the 5 and then they give you half of that, then you're ultimately going to be leaving with 7.5% versus just 5%, which is why those matches matter, y'all. Like, do not sleep on the matches because they help you to generate more money for your future. And one thing that my clients often ask is like, okay, but I don't want to work for this company forever. Am I going to lose the money? No, you're not going to lose the money. Like, you take that money. If you've earned it, it's yours. Like, you can go to another company and start investing with them. You can roll it all over into your own Roth IRA. I've done that in the past for myself, and I've encouraged certain clients. Not everybody, ultimately it's their decision, but I have rolled over old 401k money into my Roth IRA before as well. There is a cost associated with that, so we're not going to go into the details of it, but make sure you understand the full gamut of what that means. But essentially, it's free money when it comes to company matches. So if you contribute 2 and they say they'll match you 1, then you have 3% of money that's coming by. Hey, Portola, instead of it just being 2. And so the goal is to accumulate as much as possible from your employers. A lot of them are offering matches and people don't really understand what that means. But again, this is just free money. As an employer, it's another benefit that they're giving you with this company match. So usually, again, there are thresholds. Is that the word? Thresholds. And so again, they're usually say like, okay, well, you can invest up to 5% of your income. Usually it's your income that is coming from. It's not money that is coming from your bank account. It's usually the check that they're giving you. You can invest up to 5% of your yearly income, and we will, contribute a match of 2.5%. That essentially means that they're going to give half of whatever you contribute into that account. And that's additional money that you're getting. So like 401ks, 403bs are game changers. And I've had so many clients feel like they don't want to give up the money now because it does lower your taxable income. It lowers the amount of money that hits your account. But it's like, you don't recognize that that money is working for you by putting it into this retirement account because that 401k is being invested. It's being invested into the Apples and the Microsofts and all of these different sort of stock avenues, And so by the time you take that money out, it's going to be worth so much more than you taking that $50, $60 now. Like, imagine if you started investing and collecting those company matches from the very beginning, from your very first job at 21, 22, 23, you will have seen your money grow. I don't think I know anybody who has invested in these accounts and not seen their money grow. Like, you can ask your parents, you can ask anybody. Like, nobody has ever lost money doing these things. Yes, it's a short-term loss now because you get less money coming to your check, but you have to think about the future. You're going to need more money in the future because inflation is a real thing. Homes are going to cost more. Gas is going to cost more. Food is going to cost more. You're going to wish that you had put that money up so that you can live according to the new standards of life now. And so that's point 2. Point 3, another benefit is that it is pre-tax. And depending on how much you make, you might not like that. But if you are making over 6 figures, you're going to like that it lowers your taxable income, because the more money you make, the more the IRS is going to take. So if you're making 60 to 70, which is what I was making when I got serious about like getting my money to right, I didn't mind them lowering I minded the lower tax income, because it's like I already am not making enough to be living where I'm living. I lived in a high cost of living area, and I barely was making it on, 60, 70. But I also knew that like if I don't invest this money now, I'm never going to invest it. So I need to learn how to live on less. And ultimately, it didn't knock me out of my tax bracket because it was pretty low to begin with. But now that I'm making over six figures, I want to lower my taxable income as much as possible, because that's less money that the government, the IRS, is taking from me. So as you make more, you're going to want to find different avenues to lower your taxable income so that you're not giving the IRS more of your money. So you can make more money and just allow that all that money to come to your account. Or you can be like, no, like I don't want the IRS to get this money, because essentially you're just giving them the money that you could have kept for yourself or your future. And that's not what I want. I had to spend a lot of time with one client in particular around her mindset around this, because she was like, like I just started making six figures. I am paying more in taxes, but I'm also making more and I like seeing bigger checks. And I'm like, okay, so what are you going to do when you're 40? What are you going to do when you're 50? What are you going to do when you're 60? And you don't have anything saved for the future. You're going to want to continue to work. You want to be that old coworker that's in a 60 still working right now, baby? I don't think you do. Like, I had to really address her mindset around not having that additional money now and putting it towards the future. And then when she started realizing that her company matched, like they offered a 6% match, not a 6% match. They allowed her to invest 6% of her income and they matched 3%. I said, that's good. Most companies are not offering 3%, baby. You need to take that money because it's free money that they're giving you. That is free money. Please don't leave that on the table. So it's pre-tax. So depending on how much money you make, depending on which type of tax bracket you're in, you're going to want to lower it because that's less money that you're giving to the IRS. And then fourthly is that it is not taxed as ordinary income. So you won't owe anything on the funds until you withdraw it. So like some people feel like, okay, but am I going to be taxed on that money? Like, no, like consider that like hidden money. And until you decide to do something with that money, like you don't have to do anything from a tax perspective on it, which is good. It can just grow and grow and grow and not be taxed until you do something with it, meaning you withdraw from it, meaning you start using that actual money. And depending on how your 401k is set up, some of them you're able to withdraw tax-free at a certain age, but that's usually on the 403b side of things, like the government teacher side of things and less on the 401k side. So hopefully that makes sense. Of course, ask any questions in the chat. I'm here to break this down and make it as easy as possible because our employers are not doing it for us. And I want us to be using them for everything that they got, okay? Because they're using us for everything that we got. So add any questions that you have in the chat. Just put a Q in the front. So the second account that I want you to get clear on is a health savings account. So this is my favorite. I mean, a 401k is my favorite too because of those matches. But this one has more benefits. So a health savings account, you likely have heard of it already. Comment in the chat if you've heard of a health savings account. But this is my favorite account because it's triple tax advantage. And I don't even want to dive into exactly what that is like until the end because I'm going to end up talking for a long time. But this is an employer-sponsored health savings account. So when you think of health, you probably think of the doctor. You think of, I was going to say drugs. Lord Jesus. All this Diddy stuff been on my mind. Medicine. You think of just health-related expenses. And you likely are like, okay, yeah, I have a health savings account. I put a little $50 in there or whatever, and I use it whenever I go to the doctor. I use it whenever I need to get some new medicine. But I want you to think differently about this account. And I want you to think of it as an investment account, because again, our employers are not going to tell us that we can invest with these accounts. That's up to us to go and ask them if we can do it. I never went to my employer. I ended up watching another video on YouTube by Our Rich Journey. If you don't know of them, just type in Our Rich Journey. I actually put it in the chat for you because they have changed the game for me. Like, I love their channel. And I've learned so much about investing. Like, they really keep me sharp. And so they are the ones who told me on like how to use my health savings account to invest, So this is another employer sponsored account. You have to kind of get it set up through your employer. And the goal and the premise of it is essentially to have money set aside to pay for health related expenses. And then some companies, mine in particular, and I think a few of my clients have mentioned that, yeah, I didn't realize that our company offered matches, but you can't get the match if you don't sign up for the account. So people feel like they'll just automatically get the money. Like you have to opt into a health savings account, and they'll usually give you, like my company gives me 25, and I think I can max up to like, I forgot how much I can max up to, but they only give me 25 every month. But I'm like, free is free. Okay. So thank you for that 25 because I can invest that. It's another account as well, point three, that is pre-tax. So it can lower your taxable income. Again, depending on how much you make, this may not matter. But as you make more, my goal is to help you make more. You're going to want to lower your taxable income. You're going to want to lower how much the IRS is getting from you, because we're all paying taxes. It don't matter if you make 10,000, 100,000, 300,000. We all paying taxes, and the goal is to pay as least as possible. And so it's a good advantage for those that are like one of my clients. She's single, lives in California, no kids, and she works in tech. So she makes buku money, and the IRS is taking so much of her money. So we have spent months talking about different avenues that she can take to lower that taxable income, because California is a blue state and they want all your money. You ain't got no kids, you're not married, you ain't got no properties, you ain't got no money going nowhere but to your pocket. Oh yeah, we want it. Give it to us. That's literally how they thinking about it. They're not saying those words, but I understand her struggle because I am from California and I know how I used to get taxed on 80K. So I understood that she needed to do something about it. And so she recently bought a house that's going to help her to lower her taxable income. She's going to be able to write off her interest that she's paying every month. She's going to be able to write off some of the expenses of the home. She's going to be able to write off a lot of the expenses that were associated with buying the house, and each state handles it differently, but that's one avenue that she's taking. And now I'm trying to get her to get a place out here in Texas, okay? An investment property, because she's making even more money. She has a new job. She's making more money than she did at her former job. And she wants to ensure that she can lower her taxable income. And so we talk about different strategies, with that as well, because she doesn't really need the financial foundations. She just wants to learn how to better manage the money she has and put it towards investments that can lower her taxable income and essentially work for her, because she works hard. Like she wouldn't be working in tech and all that stuff if she didn't work hard, but it's like, are you going to give all your money to the IRS? Or are you going to put it in other avenues that the IRS can't take from you, i.e. business, i.e. real estate? She doesn't want another business. She already works over time, so it's like, I need to put it in stuff that's just going to work for me so that when I'm off, and so that's her story. So any lowering taxable income makes sense for her. And then the last thing that's super duper 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 important is that this is a triple tax advantage. And I forgot to mention that client also has all of these benefits. They offer a 401k for her. She's maxing it out. And then she's, which means that she's contributing up to the max amount that you can do. And then they also offer a health savings account for her as well. So this is a triple tax advantage account. And I want you to be thinking about this. I want it to just be in the back of your brain, okay? Because when I say that it's triple tax advantage, that means number one, that any contributions that you make, any money that you put into it is tax deductible, meaning you don't have to pay any taxes on it, and two is that your interest is earned. So as you put money in this account, the balance is going to grow regardless. The balance is going to grow. Even if the investments lose their value, your money is still going to grow, and it's always going to bounce back. Again, I've never lost so much that I'm taking out more than what I put in. I'm always going to have more excess if I'm being diligent with putting this money in. So the interest earned, because your money is earning interest by putting it in these investments, that is tax-free as well, which means that you don't have to pay the IRS or nobody nothing on that money. And then lastly, the withdrawals are tax-free. So any money that you take out from that account, assuming it's a medical expense, it can't be for you to buy the new iPhone. It can't be for a new wig. No, it has to be a medical expense. And if you withdraw, like let's say, because this is a real example, these are things that I actually do. And I just put my client on this. So like, I went to the doctor. No, I went to the dentist. I went to the dentist last week and I used my credit card because I earn points on my credit card to, earn free flights. I have travel credit cards. Love those. I talk about that in my Luxury Living on a 9-to-5 Budget Masterclass. Comment if you want to learn about that. But I went to the dentist, and usually a dentist has a copay, even if it's just to get a little cleaning, And so instead of using my HSA card, I used my credit card because I knew this copay is going to be $60 and I earned 2 times the points. So I got 120 additional points just for doing something I was already going to do. So what I now can do is log into my HSA and transfer that money over. I have to submit the receipt from my dentist, but I can withdraw that money tax-free, and now that goes to my bank account. So like that is a little loophole. Shout out to Our Rich Journey that taught me that, because all of the things associated with your health savings account are tax-free. Anything you contribute is tax-free, which means the money that you put in, think of it as like a deposit. Your deposit is tax deductible. So like you can lower your taxable income in that way because it's money that you're not spending on your livelihood. It's money being associated with the health savings account, which is indirectly an investment account. So I don't have to pay any taxes on that. It lowers my taxable income, which again, the more money you make, you're going to be focused on lower your taxable income. But even if you only make 50K, the goal is to give the IRS as little as possible, right? I'm sure it is. Comment if you don't want to give the IRS nothing more than they deserve, okay? And hopefully none of y'all work for the IRS, child. No shade. I pay my bills. I pay my taxes every year. 2 is that the interest earned is tax-free. So that means whenever you need to take the money out, you can take it out and not pay taxes on it, y'all. Like, I love health savings account. Like, shout out to Our Rich Journey. I love them because they make this so simple to understand. I watched that one video and I was like, I've been at this health savings account and ain't did nothing with it. And now I just put all my clients on and they like, wait, what? We could just, what? Like, they just were so impressed. And I was like, girl, hey, I'm all about loopholes and finding legal loopholes, okay? And then lastly is that the withdrawals are tax-free. So that's when you need to take some money out to pay for a medical related bill only. Again, it's not for your brunches. It's not for new clothes. It has to be a medical expense that fits the list of medical expenses that usually each HSA, provides. Like the one that I have through our company, they have a list of qualified medical expenses. So you may think, oh, I could just go to CVS. No, baby. You need to make sure that it's on that list. And yes, I hear you, girl. I don't want to give the government no more money because they already taken enough. They're taking it up, and then they're trying to force us to have kids to lower our taxable income. Do you not know that that's more money? No, I'm not doing that. I got to find better avenues. So yes, we don't want to give the IRS no more money. They getting enough. So I love HSA. So if you have any questions, as I always mention, you guys just comment in the chat because this is a lot of information, but I just want to make sure that you have it so that you can take action. Like, I'm an action-oriented person. This is an action-oriented platform. Okay. All my clients know by the end of every session we have, they have action items and we follow up with them. So I take this serious. I'm very passionate about it. And I want to help us to manage our money better and ensure that our investments and our money is working for us so that we ain't got to stress and we can do the brunches. We can buy the wigs. We can do all the things. Go ahead and like this live too. I'm giving a lot of good game here. Okay. Like the live. Thank you. All right. The next account is a Roth IRA. Now, this is an account that anybody can have. It's not just unique to employers. The first two, the health savings account and the 401k/403b, is more money for your side piece. Wait. What side piece, girl? Hold on now. Tell me more about that side piece in the chat, baby. But the next account is a Roth IRA. And this is an account that anybody can have. It's not just unique to your employers. You can open this whether you are a 9-to-5 girly or not. And so with that, some of the benefits are that, again, anyone can have one. I just spoke about that. It's not attached to an employer. And I love that. Thank you guys for liking the video. So you can open it whether you run a business, whether you are in college. You do, I think, have to be 18. I should double check on that. I think you have to be 18. I'm gonna fact check that later. But let me just Google it right now. How old do you have to be to open a Roth IRA? Because I didn't open one until my 20s. But let me confirm that. I think you got to be 18. Let me see. Oh, there's no age limit. Okay, that's what's up. As long as you have taxable income and you meet certain income requirements. So essentially, here they go. Okay, so I still recommend 18 because at that point you likely have some taxable income. I started working when I was, before you could work, baby. I was working at 12, 13, selling newspapers. But it says here, if the client is under 18, the account might need to be a custodial account. So I need to open one for my godson. He is only 8. He ain't got no taxable income, but I want him to be able to get those advantages that are associated with a Roth. So I'm glad to look that up. So if you have kids and you want to open a Roth IRA for them and they are under 18, then it needs to be a custodial account, which means that you open it for them and you manage it. That's what I do with my godson for the investment account that he has. It's through a traditional brokerage. But if they are over 18 and they have taxable income, let's say they work at Old Navy or sell coffee, something that can be traced, they can open it on their own. So that's why I probably had 18 in my mind, because otherwise you have to open it for them and it needs to be a custodial account. Okay, Priscilla, you said you're in education, our employer does 403b. Perfect. So yes, girl, look into those benefits. Girl, I don't know if you're a girl or guy. I hope you're a girl because I've been telling you girl, but if you're a guy, that's fine too. Look into your 403b. Hopefully you actually get a match. I'm sure you do, because they have a lot of advantages for those in education. So anyway, back to the story. So anyone can open a Roth IRA. It's not attached to an employer. So whether you run a business, whether you are just living life, as long as you have some kind of way to track your income, you can have this account. It's free to open. Ain't no fees associated with it, baby. Next is that the money in a Roth IRA grows tax-free, which is why I need to open one for my godson ASAP, because I want his money to grow tax-free. I know his custodial brokerage account ain't tax-free. Not when it's time to take the money out, and so we're going to be paying on that when it's time for him to take the money out. But for this, I like that it grows tax-free, which means that if you started with $50 and then maybe 2 years from now, it's at $2,000, you don't have to pay any taxes on that money. It can grow tax-free. It's going to grow regardless. If you're strategic with putting that money in there and monitoring your investments, you want money to grow tax-free and not have to give the IRS anything else. Okay. So I love that about Roth IRAs. Next is that when it comes to withdrawals, you can withdraw again, tax-free. You don't have to give the government anything, but it has to be a certain age. And I put that age here at 59 and a half, which is a long time from now for a lot of us, but it still helps. I'm closer to 59, child. I'm not, but I'm sure I'm closer than a lot of my clients. My clients are in their 20s. I have a few in their early 30s, but I'm closer to 40, baby. So tax-free withdrawals is a good thing. The less you can give to the IRS, the better. You want to keep all your money, all your investments, all your growth, Next is that you can pass down your money tax-free to your kids. So God forbid something happens to you, you can list them as a beneficiary. So instead of the money going to your government, or to the state, like you can pass that money to your kids or to any other beneficiary that you have, which I need to set up for my godson too. Look at me. I'm post-checking myself. And then lastly is you can withdraw your contributions penalty-free at all times. And I underline contributions because that is not the money that you earn, not the interest that you're gaining, not that growth that you're gaining. You can't withdraw that tax-free until 59 and a half. But if anything that you've put into the account, you can withdraw, not your earnings, not any interest that you've earned, only your contributions, only your deposits, I should say. You can withdraw those penalty-free, which means that you don't have to pay anything to take them out. I don't recommend you do this unless life is difficult. I hope that life ain't that difficult and we got a savings account, because then you're taking away from the growth that you could be earning. And so I don't advise any of my clients to withdraw from their Roths unless like you on a death line, otherwise we have high-yield savings accounts. We have high-yield CDs. Like I get them set up with what they need. And so no, do not withdraw from your Roth IRA if you can help it. Now, if desperate times call for desperate measures, you lose a job, you need the money for medical expenses, that's different. But just because you want to go to brunch, get a new wig, no, baby, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're leaving that money in there to grow so we could grow. We're going to need that money in our 40s and our 50s and our 60s. The next account and the last account is a traditional brokerage. So I don't have Robinhood here because I feel like Robinhood has some growth to do when it comes to investing the way that I encourage my clients to invest, but I think they're well on their way. But for now, I'd rather you go with like the people that really know their stuff, and that's Fidelity, Vanguard, Betterment, and Wealthfront, only because I've used all of these and I like their user experience, and they have a lot of education into it within all of their platforms so that, whether you're starting from 0 or 5, like you truly understand like what to do and how to manage your account to the best of your ability. So this is another account that anybody can have. It's not attached to an employer. So whether you run a business, whether you're a college student, you can have one of these accounts. Again, I have one of these for my godson, and so we're investing every month. It's a custodial brokerage account, but it's ultimately ours, and it has his name, but it's ours, meaning it's mine and his parents. And when he's 18, we can decide what he's going to do with it, but we're investing on his behalf. So anybody can have one. It's not attached to an employer. There are no early withdrawal penalties. So if you decide to withdraw your contributions, you can do that. I don't recommend it because, again, the money you take away from that is lowering the growth that you can gain. Our goal is to have him have $1 million, by 18. He's only 8. We got another 10 years and we're nowhere near that. But as our income increases, we're going to continue to increase the amount that we contribute so that he has $1 million to do with what he wants. And that's not us putting in 1 million. That's the growth that's associated with the money that we're putting in there. And it's another account that my financial advisor manages. So it's a very high tolerance account. Like it's very, what's the word? What's the term that they say? It is an aggressive. That's what my financial advisor calls it. It's an aggressive portfolio. So for him, he only 8. It could be as aggressive as it needs to, because even if it drops next year, we have a whole 10 years to get him to that 1 mil. And it's not going to be all of our money getting him to that 1 mil. It's going to be the Apples and the Microsofts and the Facebooks, the Meta, whatever, that is paying out those dividends that we are reinvesting. So as the companies get better and get stronger, we like that, because that means that they're going to be giving more to us as investors, which means that they're giving more to my baby. So I like that. And that's why we don't want to withdraw any money from there, unless, again, life be life and we need the money. For now, we good. Do we wish we could just use the money for ourselves? Yes, but that's part of being parents. Okay. So next is that you are offered a wide range of investments. So with 401ks and HSAs, usually there's a list, and this is not for every company, just based on my experience with my clients, my own accounts, my friends, conversations we've had. There are only certain investments that you can, opt into because of the way that the 401k and the HSA is structured. So usually what your company does is they hire a Betterment, they hire a Fidelity to essentially offer the 401k, the HSA to their company. And because of that, they only have access to certain investments. So you might not be able to buy Microsoft on its own. You might have to buy it as part of a portfolio, an index fund, or an ETF, for example. And that's okay. Nothing's actually wrong with that. But if you want more power and you want more control to just say, actually, I want to buy a Buku Netflix because I see that they about to do the A, B, and C, and I like the sound of that, and I want to be a part of it. You can do that with your brokerage account. You have as much freedom as you'd ever want with this type of account to do what you want, because it's a wide range. You can invest in whatever you want. It doesn't have to be on your list of improvements or approved investments through your account, through your company, which is your 401ks, 403bs, HSAs. Those are all employer affiliated. Lastly is that there are no income limits. So even if you only making $20 a month, you can open your account, you don't have to make a certain amount to have this account. The goal is to just get it opened and get familiar with how things are working here, and then be doing your research on what I can invest in. And then lastly is that you can open one for your kid. Like I mentioned, we have one for my godson, and we opened that when he was 2. That was my push. I said, okay, I want my baby to be good. I don't want him to have all these student loans. I don't want him to be struggling the way that we struggled growing up. I want him to know that if he wants to go to college, we going. No debt, no student loans needed, baby. We got the money for you. And we got the money for your apartment. We got the money for all the things you need. As long as you do what you need to do, which is good grades, don't do drugs, and keep your party into a minimum. Those are my only requirements. Don't get nobody pregnant. Get your degree, okay? So yes, that's my plan for him. So you can open one for your kids as well. Even your nieces, nephew. Like I said, I don't have kids. Motherhood's not a part of my life, and it probably will never be. And I'm okay with that because I don't want them kids. My godson is enough. And my little babies, my nieces and nephews are enough. But I want to make sure that my baby is good. And I love this account because it allows me to do what I want to do and to grow his money so that when he gets 18, he ain't got to worry about the student loans. If you want to buy a house, we already got the down payment. If you want to get an apartment, we already got the money associated for that. We don't want him to have to borrow more money from nobody, okay? Because we already was on a struggle bus, and we want to leave our kids better than our lives were for us. The goal is to leave each generation better than the last one. And that's something my grandmother always put into us. So into our parents put it into us. So we did the best that we could with what we have, but the goal is to get better. Wrap it up. Don't be rushing me now. Hold on now. Now I'm going to take my time. No, I'm just kidding, but I'm not kidding. But anyway, so these are two accounts. The first one is to, open that investment account for your kids. So this is one of the YouTube videos I did on it because I got a lot of questions about, okay, so how do I do that? How do I invest for my kids? That's a really good video. Let me see if I can click on the link and put it in the chat. And then the other one is a detailed video on a Roth IRA. So we talked about what that is. One of my favorite accounts. Again, anybody can have one. There's so many different advantages to it. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in the chat. This is the awesome. I don't need to hear my child, but I'm going to put these in the chat. Yeah, the number one account. Put that one in here so you can listen to it. It's really good. I created it off of the conversations I had with my clients. And then my Roth IRA one. If you needed more intel. Okay. All right. So those are in the chat. Go ahead and check those out at your leisure. Next, and the final step is to research different options for stock and investing. So after you have learned about the different accounts, understood what type of investor you want to be, identified how much money you realistically have based on your spending plan, the final step is to start researching the different options out there for stock investing. And I should have said stocks, bonds, because usually it's going to be a combination of both, which is usually recommended. I recommend that. I don't really recommend any of my, unless they like 21, 22, I don't want them to only have a 100% stock portfolio. Like you want to lower your risk a little bit. If you're in your 30s, lower it even more. If you're in your 40s, lower it even more in your 50s. Okay. So I'm going to give you some tea on like how to research different stocks and what the different options are. So there are many different ways that you can invest. Number one is individual stocks. I've been using this example of Microsoft over and over. Let's say you want to buy 1,000 stocks of Microsoft. Like you can do that if you want. I don't ever recommend that, but ultimately it's your decision. Two is, bonds. So when you purchase a bond, you provide a loan to an issuer like a government, a municipality, or a corporation. So usually these kind of companies offer bonds to individuals, and essentially it's like you're providing a loan to these companies, and so like they may need the money to invest in a future initiative or a future goal, and you give it to them in the form of a bond, which is like a loan. And when they reach that goal, or if you reach that peak in the time frame that the bond was being held, they now have to pay you that back with interest. So my mom is a big fan of bonds. That was really her thing in her life, and she worked for the government, so it just made sense. It was safer. It was a safer place to put your money, because no matter what happens, you get your money back plus the interest. Even if they don't use the money for whatever they said they were going to use it for, you get the money back plus the interest, which is additional money that you get back. Next is index funds, which is basically like buying a bag of stocks of Microsoft, Facebook, Meta. All of that is, Microsoft, Facebook / Instagram / Threads, TikTok. I don't think they're even on the market yet. Like it could be all the tech companies, and you can buy like an index fund for them, and then ETFs, which operate similar to exchange traded funds, but they often have a lower cost to entry. Index funds, a lot of them have a minimum, amount that you have to spend to buy the index fund, but they also offer higher returns, higher, growth. So you just got to take all that with a grain of salt. And so you said Robinhood and Fidelity are my favorite trade platforms. Yes, I have Robinhood. I don't really use it. I don't use it like that. I feel like I like Fidelity much better, though. That's like my default. And then I have another one that I use. But yeah, Fidelity is my jam for sure, especially for those zero cost index funds and ETFs that they have. So I want to give you some examples of like how to read. What do they call these things, Chad? I keep forgetting. There's a term for it. It's not coming to my mind, but basically like how to research your different stocks. And so the things that I like to look for, of course, is the price. Do I even have the money for this? The last time that I pulled this, which was yesterday, I believe, or Thursday, the price was $430. So if you wanted to buy a share of Microsoft, you need $430. 52-week high is 468. So technically, you're buying it at a discount if you were to have bought it on Thursday. That's something important to know. I pay attention to the changes, and then I pay attention to the performance overall. So over the last week, there was an increase in 30% or 0.30%. Over the last 3 months, there was a decrease in performance of minus 4%. Like I just like to, I think it's called a prospectus. It just came to me, a prospectus. So I like to read these, but I'm not an individual stock kind of girl. I don't even encourage my clients to really invest in too many individual stocks because they're busy. They're mothers, they're wives, they're business owners, they're 9-to-5 employees. The last thing they're going to be doing is looking at every single perspective of every single stock. So I'm a index funds girly, I'm an ETF girly, and I always encourage them to prioritize those as well. So yeah, paying attention to the price chart is important. Paying attention to the price is important. I don't think Microsoft pays dividends because I was looking to see what their expense ratio is, but I know other index funds that I have in this presentation does. So we're going to talk about expense ratios and why you need to pay attention to those as well. So next is bonds. When you purchase a bond, essentially you are gaining, you are issuing like a loan to like a government, a municipality, which can be like your city of Houston, the Harris County, stuff like that, or a corporation, which could be like a Microsoft, stuff like that. Y'all like this video if you haven't yet, please. I'm trying to grow my channel, baby. Trying to hit 1K by the end of this year. So this is a bond, you know, Vanguard, which is a popular investment platform. They offer their own unique bonds, their own unique ETFs, their own unique index funds, you know. So they offer bonds that you can buy, and usually you can see what the holdings are. So we've already talked about like how to find out the minimum. So you need a minimum of $3,000 to get this bond, you know. So if you ain't got $3,000, then this needs to not even be on your list. I don't have this one personally. I don't have this one. So some of the things that they are, you know, investing in are like the United States Treasury. It looks like it's all the United States Treasury, which makes this a government bond. Yes, Microsoft has a huge influence in our city. Yes, I'm from the West Coast, so I already know what it is. And they have been doing pretty good. Like, I don't pay attention to the 1 week stuff. I pay attention to the years. Like, how are things happening in the years? And then what are they doing from a company perspective, like from a growth perspective? Are they investing in some new AI, artificial intelligence? Are they coming to the, you know, like, I want to see what they're doing, because if they're doing innovative things, then that's usually going to be a good sign that like that's opening new revenue streams, which means that I'm going to be making more money, baby. So I'm down for that. But I'm also cognizant of the fact that bonds hold a special place as well. And so all of the bonds associated with this, at least a high percentage of what the bond is attached to, are T bonds, and that is through the United States Treasury. So this is a huge, you know, important thing. The government is stable, you know, so like I think bonds are something important to keep in mind of as well. Particularly T bonds, like these are good things to have depending on your level of tolerance. So next is index funds. So this is one that I actually have. I have VTSAX, Vanguard Total Stock Market Index Fund, and I have it because of this. This is very small, you guys, but you may have to zoom in a little bit. I don't even know if you can do that, but I can read what some of the things are. What's in here from a holdings perspective: Apple, Microsoft, NVIDIA. There's been a lot of conversation around NVIDIA lately. A lot of conversation. If you ain't ever heard of them, it's NVIDIA. Just do it. Go ahead and Google that. What else is in here? Meta. So Instagram, Facebook, Threads. I think Meta just bought Threads. Like, you got to pay attention to what these companies are doing, because that's going to bring in more revenue, baby. That's going to bring in more revenue. They're going to bring ads to there. They're going to bring influencers to there. Like, that's going to be more money in my pocket while all these influencers doing the work. I'm just collecting on the back end at home, not doing nothing. Next is Berkshire Hathaway. They own a lot of real estate. They own a lot of apartments. They own a lot of these office buildings. Like, they making money. They making money. We all need a place to live. And a lot of these companies still have locations, the malls, all the things. That's another good thing in there. Next is, I can't even read no more. It's so small. But just to give you an example of what it is. And then the sector weightings, like, they fall mostly under technology. So I've just listed a lot of technology companies. A lot of financial services are in here. Look, Amazon. How did I miss that, child? We all be on Amazon. Healthcare, consumer I don't know what that says, but energy, real estate, utilities, these are all things that we started needing. Yes, I started buying NVIDIA in 2021. Baby, you were ahead of the game. Okay, you were ahead of the game. And so another thing I like to look at as well, of course, is the price. Now, one little tip that I want you to highlight and be clear of is that if you buy VTSAX in Vanguard, that's going to be a better situation than you trying to buy it under Fidelity. Again, I'm a Fidelity girly. I'm not a Vanguard girly, though I do have VTSAX. I had to pay to purchase this on top of the 137. There was a minimum that I had to pay, and I had to pay my actual brokerage, which was Fidelity, because this was not a Fidelity based investment. You know, it was a Vanguard based investment. So if I would have bought it in Vanguard, I wouldn't have had to pay the brokerage because it's their fund. But because it wasn't Fidelity's fund, I had to pay the minimum, which was $3,000, you know, plus the fee that Fidelity charged me. So like, that's just a little tip. Try to stick within your company's or your brokerage's funds. Fidelity has their own version of a VTSAX, and I invest in that as well, but I had to learn that the hard way. So that's just a little tip, and I make sure to tell my clients that as well. Like, yeah, you can buy this stuff wherever, but it needs to make sense for you, and the goal is to buy it for as least as possible. And so I know that they do pay dividends, and so what I like to highlight here is the expense ratio. It is a good practice, and I'm sorry, y'all, it's very small, but it's 0.04. It's good to keep your expense ratio at zero. Anything below 0.04 is a good thing to have. If it's 0.07, if it's 1%, like that's too much money, because essentially what that is the cost of owning this stock, you know? So you want to keep it as low as possible, which means that you're paying as least as possible to have it, because you want to have it. You're going to have to pay regardless, but we want to pay as little as possible. So if anything, I try to keep it under 0.03%, you know, or have it to be nothing, which is why you do want to buy funds associated with your brokerage. So for Fidelity, I don't have expense ratios for the Fidelity-based index funds, Fidelity-based ETFs, but I do for Vanguard because, again, it's not under Vanguard, you know, and so I'm paying more to have that stock, which is why I ain't bought no more. I just bought all Fidelity moving forward. Another thing you want to think about is the, you know, return. So the year-to-date return, anything in green is a good sign. So 18% is a year-to-date return. That's good. A 1 year return is 26%, and year-to-date means from January to now. 1 year is the last year. 3 years, the last 3 years. You know, this is all making sense. And then they also, what I love to see, and this is pulled from Yahoo Finance, they will often compare it to, you know, what other people are investing in. VTIAX is also super duper popular, and it might be a little cheaper. VTI, I also have that. VFIAX, like these are all super big Vanguard funds that are, for the most part, performing pretty well. There are some, you know, ebbs and flows, but I have VTI, I have VTSAX, and they do have some little drops, but for the most part, I have gained more than I've lost. So that's just some of the things you want to pay attention to: the expense ratio, the holdings, because you want to invest in stuff that's familiar, you know, or you want to make it familiar to yourself, you know. I know what Apple is. I know what Microsoft is. I know what they do. I know Amazon. I spend enough money there anyway. So yeah, give me a little bit back. And then actually, I don't even keep any of the money. I just reinvest it back. So pay attention to that. Pay attention to the returns. Pay attention to the price. Pay attention to the expense ratio. Pay attention to the holdings and the sectors that they're investing in. And they need to make sense for you, because don't invest in nothing you'll understand. You're just going to be losing money because you don't understand what's going on. Next is index funds. Again, this is another example, you guys. So sorry. So this is another one that I think, do I own this? Yeah, FZROX, child. I got a list of funds that I invest. And yes, this one, as you can see, a little cheaper, $19. This is a Fidelity-based fund. As you can see, like I mentioned, the expense ratio is 0% because it's a Fidelity fund, and I have Fidelity. So I don't have to pay anything to own this stock. That's the key. Like, I want to be able to collect money and give them as little as possible. And so as you can see, a lot of the similar things that were in VTSAX is in FZROX. So Apple, Microsoft, NVIDIA, Amazon. Like, I'm actually over what's the word I'm looking for? Child. I have a combination of similar things, but I only have a little bit of VTSAX. I have a lot of FZROX because, again, I'm paying less money to have this stock, and I still get visibility into the companies that matter. And so again, we're paying attention to the expense ratio. We're paying attention to the returns. We're paying attention to what sectors, what industries they're investing in, and then what companies, because I need to be familiar with these companies. I need to be able to track what they're doing. Are they effing up? Are they stealing money? Are they doing the things? Because I know that that's going to impact my investments, so it's easier to track stuff that you're familiar with. Facebook always in the news. Microsoft always in the news. Apple just released iPhone 16. So that's a good thing, because what people going to do is go out and buy it. So that's going to make sure that they making their money, which means I'm making my money. Okay. Next is ETFs. And I want to say this is the last one. So these are exchange traded funds. They operate similar to index funds, but they often have a lower cost to entry. This isn't a good example, unfortunately, $85 versus $19. But this is doing so well that I would just wanted to include it anyway. So this one is ARK, which is a next generation internet ETF. This is something that my financial advisor is managing for me, because I didn't even know what the hell this thing was, child. But as you can see, they are investing in a lot of things we're familiar with. Roku, Tesla, Meta, Shopify. Like, these are essentially, the technology meets functionality, productivity coming together. So Shopify, a lot of online based businesses are using Shopify. Tesla, no gas, using technology to power it. Like, this is essentially the future of like our lives, and inviting technology into the things to make it easier for us. And so that's why he probably invested in this, because Tesla is always in the news as well. It's not always great, but they're always in the news, and people ain't slowing down with buying Tesla. So that's good for me. Shopify, I run my business online as well. Though I don't use Shopify, I understand the power of Shopify. So that's a good move as well. And then if we think at like the sector weightings, technology, communication services, financial services, real estate, these are things that aren't going anywhere, and then the returns for the most part looking pretty good, baby. So once he broke it down, I was like, okay, great. So now whenever he adds something new, like, I know just to go look at the prospectus so I can get an idea of like, okay, what is this? And like, what companies do I need to pay attention to? So if it hits the fan, I can let him know, even though he probably already be knowing. He be moving stuff around all the time. That's his job. That's not mine. So this is an example of an ETF. Again, it's not super low. I don't think they always pay, I don't think this one offers any, it doesn't offer. Oh yeah, it does. Expense ratio is so small I can't see it. It's very high. I'm gonna have to tell him about that. It's 0.07. But I understand that, because it is a lot of these newer companies. They kind of need the money. They're still building their platforms. They're still building. They're not at Microsoft's level, Apple's level. So yeah, they're going to require a little bit more from you in the very beginning. But eventually, I know that they're going to lower that, just like Microsoft, Apple, and all these other companies have done. All right, so the final tips, Portola, since you rushing me, do the dang child. The final tips are to track your progress monthly. Spreadsheets help. Like I mentioned, I have all of my investments on my own spreadsheet. Maybe I should package that up and sell it, child. I don't know. But I track it. I don't even offer that to my clients. But I track this every month. The way that I track my spending, I track my investments, because I want to know that my stuff is moving up. I want to know that my balance is increasing, number one, and that my dividends are increasing. And I include the investments that my financial advisor is doing as well, because if I don't see no increases, then I got conversation and I got questions for him, But thankfully that hasn't had to happen. 2 is to sign up for email alerts on the stocks that you decide on. So if you are like, yeah, I'm Microsoft girly, I'm an Apple girly, yeah, I'm about to get Meta, you need to know what's going on with these companies. You cannot just be, for lack of a better term, ignorant. You can't just buy it just to buy it. Oh, okay, wrap it up for your God. Somebody goes, okay, girl, thank you. Because I was like, now, wait a minute now. I'm trying to get it to you. I'm trying to help. But I understood, and I understood the smile at the end. Okay, so then next is to resist the urge to sell because of a bad day. So as I mentioned, the market is ebbing and flowing. If the economy is trash, just assume that your investments are going to be trash. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Please like and subscribe. I don't think I've seen your name lately. So keep in contact with me, ma'am, sir, ma'am, please. Resist the urge to sell, okay? Because you're going to have bad days. It's going to be rough. I think earlier in September, there was a moment where like all of our stocks dropped, but looking at it now, like it's like nothing ever happened. So you got to be willing to like remove your emotions, unless it's like a consistent loss after loss after loss and becomes a months based thing versus a couple of days. Don't let that be the thing that makes you sell, because again, we need to analyze and we need to not move, emotionally. We need to move strategically. Next is to always keep learning. So keep up with me on my platforms. I talk a lot about, all I talk about is money, baby. You're going to get a little travel content. You're going to get a little, you're going to get a little travel content. You're going to get some mindset content, but all of it is going to connect to your money, because money helps us live our lives better. So follow me on all my platforms. This is my YouTube. Please like, comment, subscribe, y'all. I'm trying to get to 1K. I'm trying to monetize. I don't mind begging, okay? Next is to follow Our Rich Journey. I just talked about them earlier. Like, I learned so much about investing from them. I'm actually a part of their FIRE community, Financial Independence, Retire Early. Because again, baby, I want to retire. I want to make work optional. Retirement ain't gonna happen until, like, I don't want to not work until 59 and a half, when I can take this money out tax free. Until then, maximize money, baby. I'm gonna be with gray hair doing maximize money, because I love this. I'm so passionate about helping people get better with their money and putting their money to work so that they can live their dream lives. So Our Rich Journey has been a key part of that. They are like unofficial coaches to me, and I love being a part of their FIRE community. Like, I'm really serious, more serious about my investments because of that. So please follow Our Rich Journey on YouTube. And if you are interested in their FIRE community, let me know, because we do get a little referral code, a little referral bonus. We refer people into their community. And then lastly is the book Cashing Out by Julian and Kirsten Saunders. This book really opened my eyes to the power of index fund investing. Yes, I'm too proud to beg, baby. I'm not too proud. I know a lot of people be trying to act like, oh, I'm too good to ask. No, not me. I will ask over and over. I'm going to ask on every video, because I know that my content is good. And the more that y'all share it, the more that y'all like, the more that y'all engage, the more it'll show up on other people's platforms. And I just feel like there's not enough of us talking about money in an actionable way, in a realistic way, in an understandable way. So again, Cashing Out, if you really want to understand like how to go from zero, not to 100, but if you really want a baseline understanding of how other people have started their investing journeys, that book is really, really good. It was gifted to me. And I love it. And I've just been referring it to everybody else, so I love that book. It is available on, I'm sure, like Amazon, all the things. And they did a really good job with breaking down index funds, because for a long time, I didn't really understand it, but like I read that and I wasn't even done with the whole book. And I had already started like buying some index funds, because I did a lot of research already, but they made it super realistic for me. So I want to spend a little time on like showing you like how I help my clients and like how I can help you as well. So this is one of my former clients. Her name is Vivian. She is a nurse and she makes a little under $8,000 a month. And she likes to do a lot of the things that we like to do: travel, brunch, buy new wigs, shop on Amazon, all the things. And she ended up letting me know that she wanted to buy a home, but she had a lot of student loans from nursing school, stuff like that. So obviously I understood that, because that was my life. And she went to a HBCU like me. So where she was financially is that she was saving. She was saving around 20% of her income. And she had about $13,000 left in student loans and about $3,000 left on her car note. So I was like, is this me that I'm talking to? This is crazy. Literally the same story. And so some of her goals, as I mentioned, were to save for her first home, pay off some debt, and enjoy life outside of the hospital. So I made her a spending plan. We worked together over the course of the year. Now my clients, we've condensed it because I've figured out how to make them get those wins quicker. But for her, it was a year. We worked on a spending plan, which is that free spending plan that I highlighted earlier, y'all. It's in the chat. We were able to increase her savings to 30%. We were able to save for her down payment. We were able to pay off that car note. She did it in 8 months. I gave her a year. She did it in 8 months because she saw that drop and she had more money to put towards other things. And she was able to decrease her student loan debt to $4,000. So she probably is done with that now. That was last year. So I need to follow up with her and see where she is. But most importantly, she was able to enjoy her life without worrying about if she had the money to do it. Because what I don't want you to do is feel like, okay, now I got to eat oodles and noodles. Now I can't go outside. Now I can't do the things that I want to do. Like, yes, you can, but the priorities need to be the priorities, because if you don't buy now, she wanted to buy a house. If she didn't buy at the end of 2023, I can only imagine what she would be dealing with right now in 2024 in this market. The market is trash. It's always going to be trash. And you can't wait until the interest rates get better. Like, you got to just buy when it makes sense for you financially, because then you can go back and refinance. Okay. She can refinance. I've had another friend refinance in 2021 when the rates were good, and she got a 2.9. You know, at first she had, I think, 5 point something. That 2.9 helps her. That lowers her mortgage, you know. So you can do that. Like, there are ways around it, and that's why I try to help us to think as millionaires, think as wealth generators, and not people that are going to be penny pinching, because that's not what I want, especially as a Black woman. Okay, that's not what I want for us. So how can you work with me? Obviously, I just gave you an example of how I help my other client, but I have helped many other women like that. I need to start sharing my case studies, my testimonials from my clients more, child. But first off, free, because I want you to get some value. I want you to get some wins quickly, which is why I offer my free spending plan template. I tell y'all, because I got the results, I got the receipts. All of my clients that have used this have figured it out within 1 hour. They know where their money is coming from, they know where it's going, and they know how to make changes, and they use it every single month. I use the OWN template every single month. And as I mentioned, I will be offering free spending plan reviews on my YouTube channel, y'all. That's coming out in November, because I ain't got no time right now. It's coming out in November, but you have to have the template. It's not going to be a link that I advertise. It's only going to be to the people who have actually downloaded it. And if they have filled it out and they want me to review it, I'm going to review it live the way that I'm talking to you guys live, without their names and all of the personal identifiable information. Of course, like, it's just going to be the numbers. They're not going to know who it is, but the goal is for us to show that, like, we're all trying to do better. And hopefully you learn how to manage your money based on seeing that. Next is my Luxury Living on a 9-to-5 Budget Masterclass. So this is for my girlies who love experiences. They love to take the trips. They love to just do nice things, go to dinner, go to brunch, and they want to learn how to be able to afford those things with the money that they already have. So instead of you carrying a bunch of debt to get the new things, instead of you carrying or using your debit card for every single purchase, like, I show you how to use certain accounts, certain cards that give you money back that you can use for these free trips, for these free flights. Like, I always tell my girls, like my money girls, which is what I call my clients, like, I haven't paid for a flight this year at all because of travel hacking. It's because I have purchased, you know, or I have paid for my utilities. I have paid for, you know, my gas, my groceries. Like, I use my travel credit cards for that. And I earn 3 times the points on groceries. I earn 5 times the points on hotels. I earn 2 times the points on gas, groceries, not even groceries, gas, any utilities that I pay, you know, like, and those points add up so quick that I now have $20,000 to redeem for a free flight, you know, because I have to do these things anyway. So it's not that you have to go out and buy all these additional things to reach that goal. Like, you have to spend the money anyway. You have to buy the utilities. I mean, you have to buy the gas, you have to buy the groceries, you have to pay your bills. Why not get something back in return and be able to use those points to redeem for free flights, free hotels, all the things? So with that, we talk about lounge access, how you can get that for free. We talk about how you can get TSA for free, like all the things. So that's a master class. It's 90 minutes of pure gems. Like, I'm over an hour here, y'all. And if you think this was helpful, imagine what that masterclass is like. We talk about how to save. We talk about how to invest. We talk about how to travel for free, you know, how to confidently afford these experiences and trips that you love without you spending more money. So that's available now. If you purchase it now, it's immediate access. And then you can get a 30-minute like one-on-one session with me after you finish it. And then lastly, which is where I've had the most success with my girlies, is the one-on-one coaching. So if you feel like, okay, girl, but like, I've read all the books, you know, I've looked at all the YouTubes, I've tried what everybody said to do, I need something that's unique to me and myself personally, then you need my Master Your Money one-on-one coaching. So this is for my 9-to-5 earning women who are tired of just consuming all of these different pieces of content and just want something that's personalized to them and their goal. And one thing that I like for my clients to have is like one big win at the end of working with me. Usually it's debt related, because I talk a lot about debt and how like paying off your debt essentially increases your income. And then we get into like the saving, we talk about the travel hacking, we talk about the investing. But most clients come with me just saying like, girl, I need to get rid of this debt. It don't matter if they're making 200K. It don't matter if they're making 50K. They want to get rid of the debt and they just don't know how to make it happen. And so that's what we usually get as our big win. And then all the other stuff, the saving, the investing, all that stuff comes later, because now you have more money to do those things, you know? So that is $4.99. And I don't advertise it as much because I'm kind of packed right now. But if you do want to sign up for it, I will be opening new slots in November. So let me just go ahead and add these links. Y'all already got the spending plan template, but I'll add it again. That is free. That is free 99. And then I'm going to add the Money Masterclass. That is $100. Again, it's 90 minutes, immediate access, and then you get 30 minutes access to me after as well. If you purchase by September 30th, that's a little deal that I got going on right now, but that ain't gonna be forever. So don't sleep. Okay. I've already done it a lot with a lot of people, so I'm a little tired. But I committed to the whole month. So y'all got 2 more days to purchase to get the free 30-minute session. All right. Let's see. Where's my thing? I'm going to add the link to the one-on-one application. So if you're interested in this, we'll obviously hop on a call, talk a little bit more, make sure that like this is good for you. But yeah, the Master Your Money one-on-one coaching is to help you get that big win, to pay off that debt, to increase that savings, to buy that house, do all the things. Okay. So thank you guys so much. You have links to all of that. Again, if you purchase the Money Masterclass by September 30th, you get a free 30-minute session with me. If you're like, girl, I need all that other stuff too, but like I need help now with this debt. I need help now with my money, just getting my money better, then you need the Master Your Money one-on-one session. And again, I'll be available to serve more women once November hits. And I'll wrap up this last session with my girls right now. And this is one-on-one. It's not with a group of people. But eventually I'm going to get all the girls together, but that's just not right now. So thank you guys so much. I know this is the longest one, but it was just a lot of detail, and I wanted to make sure that you all understood. Hopefully you did. Please let me know if this was helpful in the comments. Please like this video if you haven't already. Please subscribe to my channel. Again, I'm not too proud to beg. Okay. And these are all of my channels. My YouTube, of course, Maximize Money. On Instagram and TikTok, I am maximize.money. I just started my LinkedIn, child. It's maximize/money. And then my website, maximizemoney.com. So unless there aren't any questions, I'm going to let y'all go. Because usually it's supposed to be an hour, but this is my last one. And it was just action-packed with gems. And I hope that you feel more confident about investing. You are confident about creating your plan and know exactly what to do to make it happen for yourself. So thank you guys so much for watching. I don't see any additional questions. So I'm going to let y'all enjoy y'all Saturday. Go have you a glass of champagne, or if you don't drink, sparkling cider, something, girl. Life is hard. We deserve it. Okay. So have a great day. Have a great weekend. And I will see you guys online. Okay. See ya.